Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Tapped Out Wrestling Podcast. I am, of course, Nick McDaniel, and as always, I am joined by my buddy Myron.
The faces on the most popular pro wrestling t-shirt among our friends and family. Yes.
Thanks, so you're rocking the new shirt over there, aren't you?
Yeah, I've got one of the new shirts on. I got the It's Time to Tapped Out podcast shirt. Love it. I love everything Pro Wrestling Tees does. These are good quality, and they don't shrink, so I don't think I'm getting fatter.
Exactly. And you can get those over at prowrestlingtees.com. Like I said, go over and search in the tab. Yeah, there's a sale right now going on, so absolutely head over to prowrestlingtees.com and check us out. Just search Tapped Out Wrestling Podcast. We'll come up, I promise you. All of the shirts are over there, but the new ones seem to be doing really, really well, so we appreciate it. We also appreciate, by the way, all of our members over at Patreon, patreon.com/tappedoutpod. Thanks for signing up, and we listened to the feedback. We had some changes we were making, and we did listen, and so like I said, we always try to, anybody who's going to pay hard-earned money, we'll listen and, kind of run with the idea and anything that they got that's productive. But again, patreon.com/tappedoutpod. And of course, if you're a supporter, there's always that you can support us on the book as well.
Yes.
People signing up for that now. We promise you big things in the works. So we're going to hope it's going to be well worth your while to sign up there. We were just literally before the show started kicking around some ideas of some things to put on there that we think you'll find entertaining.
Yes. And I'm excited about the new things going forward, guys. I'm really excited, and I thank everyone for their support. And I really, really am excited about I know I said I was excited, but I'm like a kid in a candy store lately,
Yeah, whole lots of stuff.
Everything's turning up roses, man.
Yeah, man, it's cranking and cranking and cranking. That is for sure. But speaking of getting fired up, and man, the road to WrestleMania. Ooh. Why do you ask? Do we have this up on the screen? We're going to get into it because, of course, this past Monday, on Raw, they crowned a brand new champion. Bobby Lashley defeated The Miz and is your new WWE champion.
Yes. I was shocked. I thought for sure Miz would have it till Mania, or at least to the pay-per-view. I never thought they changed the title, folks, on free television. How awesome is that?
Listen, we're going to go out of order of notes a little bit here. My thing was we had heard the rumor that it was, Miz was going to hold the title till WrestleMania. It was reward, but listen, I think him winning and then losing solidified why he was champion to begin with. Clearly he's a team player, which is why he was picked to do what he did. But on the second part of this, it was also, I think, to protect Drew McIntyre to get Bobby Lashley as champion.
Yes, because that makes that match you just showed the picture of, the MMA match, the match everybody has been wanting to see. How long have people been saying, I want to see Lashley. I want to see Lashley, and I want to see him versus Brock Lesnar.
And do we really, though? That's kind of it, because here's the crazy thing. So Bobby Lashley's a bad guy, right? The Hurt Business, they're heels, right?
Yeah, but that was weird. Massive
babyface reaction to win. Listen, I get the social ramifications of him winning. I'm not, I get it. But what I'm saying is, but he was a heel character who won the title, but he got a babyface reaction.
But it was a heel versus heel match. Someone has to get over.
By the way, clearly shows the links that people do not like The Miz. As to be a heel, that even the other heel got the babyface reaction.
And that's what you're not supposed to like him, because he's a bad guy.
Absolutely. But now back to the original, like you were talking about here, is like, Lashley, Lesnar, they're going to have fans there. Because one of the things that we had heard was Lesnar's not coming back until there are fans allowed. Well, there's going to be 30,000 fans roughly at WrestleMania. So if you're finally going to have an excuse to bring him in, because even if they go back to a Thunderdome experience post WrestleMania, which I don't even get into that conversation about like the possibilities of it now not being the case, now that there are places they could run possibly. But is WrestleMania, if you got fans there, is this the moment to bring Lesnar back?
Yes, because it's WrestleMania. and you need Brock. What if Brock shows up at Fastlane, the transitional pay-per-view, the one we thought was only going to be on Peacock, is going to be on both networks? You see Brock make an appearance. Is Brock with Paul? Is Brock going to talk? Is Brock a good guy? Is Brock a bad guy? All the questions, so many that I need answered, that you'll get the answers to build up to WrestleMania.
Is Paul going to have to work Mondays and Fridays?
Ooh.
Because if Brock's on Raw, he's got to work Mondays and then on Fridays. And does that eventually? Listen, we're not going to go down this tangent road, but if he has Brock over on Mondays and he has Roman over on Fridays, does there eventually become the moment of choose? We both can't be the man, the head of the table, the beast. But we'll discuss that later because that's clearly something down the road. Or the follow-up question to my first question was, or do we get a three-way triple threat here with Drew, Brock, and Lashley?
No, don't ruin the Lashley Brock experience. That's just me. I don't like three-way matches. I think they distract sometimes. I think nobody really gets over, and you've always got that easy way to let somebody lose without losing. So I like the one-on-one. I want the two guys. That's what I want to see.
Or my last or do we just by default get the obvious is to just visit Bobby Lashley versus Drew McIntyre at WrestleMania for the title?
That has no pepper for me. Absolutely no desire to see that. It just doesn't seem like I have not overly just got into the whole Drew McIntyre run. I really respect him for carrying the company during all of the
during these times.
Center days. Yeah, he's done a great job. But I'm not a big Drew McIntyre fan. Bobby Lashley is a little boring, but when he's with MVP, he's great.
Listen, the Hurt Business has put a lot of pepper on that steak.
Oh yeah. How about a championship match where both guys have managers? How insane would that be?
Yeah.
Ooh.
And I mean, nobody's hotter than the Hurt Business right now. And I keep seeing all these posts, and we had an episode a while back where we discussed the fact that MVP should be the MVP, of WWE right now, and because literally at the Royal Rumble a year ago he debuted, he came back, and now he's basically heading up a stable that has the WWE title, the Raw Tag Team Champions. And if he was healthy, I honestly wouldn't be stunned if they put a belt on him.
No, definitely.
But we'll get to where I think there is going to be another title into the Hurt Business coming soon. That's a theory of mine that's coming later. Because this is our segment where we told you going kind of into WrestleMania every week. We're kind of got the things that changed. Obviously, the big change from SmackDown was, of course, that Bianca Belair. She confirmed she has chosen Sasha as her opponent. And one of the questions that has come up that I'll ask you, Myron, is because clearly it's a 2-night WrestleMania.
Uh-huh.
And of course, Edge and Roman are headlining one night because that's what the Rumble says, is they're going to main event one of the shows. Could Saturday night, Belair and Sasha Banks be the main event of the other one?
So many questions, Nick. So many questions. That's a main event match. Okay?
I agree.
But is it a Lashley Brock or is it Roman Edge?
By the way, this is why I'm a massive fan of the idea of WrestleMania staying 2 nights, because the Women's Rumble, she gets to claim she's a main event of a pay-per-view, even if it's the Saturday night show, and then the men's winner of the Rumble gets the main event of, because remember we always thought you win the Rumble, you get to go and be the main event at WrestleMania. Well, if there's 2 Royal Rumbles, a men's and a women's, how do they both main event?
Yeah.
Well, the women's get Saturday night or Sunday for that matter if there's a bigger one, and the men's gets the other night.
Oh, I can't wait to see the schedule. And there's so many interesting things happening with this whole Edge and Roman thing, and you got Daniel Bryan stepping in. What's Daniel Bryan doing? What is he doing in this?
He's a pit stop, let's be blunt. He's going to be just kind of in the middle. He's the fast lane opponent for Roman. Obviously, we're getting there. That they're building the story to get there as well. I just think that one of the thoughts was, hey, could he slip in and be part of a triple threat to go on to, be in the mix for the Universal title at WrestleMania? And I say absolutely not. I think it devalues the Rumble win of Edge if anybody else gets into that mix. So,
and you've got some other ideas what they're going to do with Brian.
Yeah, there's this other rumor out that they're going for the great wrestling match on WrestleMania in a triple threat versus Rollins and Cesaro and Daniel Bryan. I mean, that would be a great match. Don't get me wrong.
But it'd be a triple threat match, and I think that you can't do a great triple threat match.
I think you can. I know you're not a fan of them. I think you can do a great one. I mean, but it's just, I think those three guys could pull it off. But it's also the triple threats and the things like that are good because if you're trying to jam everybody on the card.
Oh, yeah, get your WrestleMania payday.
Well, I mean, I don't even know if that exists anymore, but in the grand scheme of things, but that's just kind of where we are. The next step, of course, is Charlotte goes on Raw and basically, look, we knew where this was going, right? She's challenging Asuka. With the promo she had, she kind of showed the whole thing that happened to Asuka last week or the week before. And then when she defeated Shayna, I'm like, dude, this is clear cut. Charlotte's heading to WrestleMania to wrestle Asuka. I mean, I could be wrong.
But see, they just lost the tag. They lost the tag titles. So they got a rivalry as a tag team with the tag team champions. And they're also going to be fighting each other for the belt. And are they going to be in another tag team match against them for a rematch? And then the drama breaks out between Charlotte and Asuka. This is old school wrestling stuff, Nick.
I think the clear drama is that Charlotte's not a team player. She's not a tag team wrestler. She excels on her own and so forth and so on. And I know, like, there was a thing about whose mom was it? Was it Peyton Royce's mom that tweeted out or that Charlotte should let other women have opportunity? And I get it. I'm sure it's kayfabe. But my argument was, in my head, I'm sitting here thinking to myself, there needs to be another woman on Raw to step up to take that spot.
Yeah.
Not the whole you deserve it. Not that. I mean, literally somebody needs to be, take that spot.
I think the people that can take that spot, Becky or Ronda Rousey, they're not there.
And okay? The triple threat idea we had, let's be blunt.
Yeah.
Rhea Ripley, if she's there, she's in the mix.
Oh. I think Ripley is probably, I don't want to say the next Charlotte, but I think she is the next Charlotte.
Here's the thing. I think there was a lot of conversation about who, because it's weird, because Bayley and Sasha seem to be the dance partners that will forever be linked.
Uh-huh.
I've always said, even though they were in that horsewomen group and it was her or Becky, I think Rhea Ripley can be Ric Flair's had Ricky Steamboat or Sting.
Oh,
I think Rhea Ripley can be her Sting or her Ricky Steamboat kind of thing. That's just me. And I would go more Steamboat because I think their matches would be to that level.
Yeah, that would be the premier women's wrestling matches, that right there. Now, I thought yesterday, I don't know if you saw the post, my dream women's tag team would be Charlotte and Jordan Grace. You got Power and you've got Glory, and you could call them Power and Glory. I know they've used that before, I know. But still, that would be, I love tag team wrestling. That tag team wrestling excites me probably more than anything else.
Oh, I agree with you. Let's keep it rolling. Listen, Braun Strowman, Shane McMahon appears to be a thing. Listen, I don't like how we got here either. I'm not going to sit here and defend it. It was super hot shotty. It was super, I don't even get why there's an issue between, what does Shane have against Braun Strowman? But we're going to have one. We're going to get a high spot match of some kind. Shane's going to do something crazy. And that's just kind of, that's Shane at WrestleMania. So
always great to have.
Is what it is, yeah. We're not going to go into the conversation about all the other matches, but I did want, I teased it earlier. I do think the Hurt Business has another title, and it's the U.S. title. Matt Riddle is defending, and it's not necessarily determined who it's going to be. I'm telling you, I believe it's going to be Keith Lee, and I think Keith Lee joins the Hurt Business as the U.S. champion.
Ooh.
So, and we'll tease that for, down the road. Ooh. That will be that'll be something I'm sure we discuss in the next few weeks if it pans out, and then Keith Lee ends up being the person to actually, have that.
Mm-hmm.
But there's lots of Raws, there's lots of Smackdowns, and there's lots of NXTs in between. And that's one of the things we want to talk about next is I wanted to get into, obviously like Peacock's coming in, lots of things are going to change with the WWE. And lots of things have been said as of recent about viewership and ratings and etc. And so I pulled some numbers, and I wanted to pull some crazy numbers here, and then I'll get to the punchline. So bear with me for a second. When we talk about things, we ever notice we only talk about like the United States. That's all we ever concern ourselves with. Like, what are the ratings in the U.S.? What are the... Hey, folks, there's a rest of the world out there, believe it or not. And for an example, Raw averaged in India alone, by the way, in the month of January, it averaged over 4 million viewers. That's more than double what they get here in the United States, by the way.
Wow. And you wonder why Jinder Mahal was champion for a while.
They also said that Smackdown averaged over 3 million, which is weird because here in this country, SmackDown gets the better number out of the two. NXT surpassed the million mark for the month of January, so it does better, obviously, over there than it does here. Listen, folks, by the way, I get that they don't have AEW. And then two, there's a lot more people. Like, I understand that. We get that. But the crazy thing was South Africa, which is not as many people, they were over 1 million for both Raw and SmackDown. Canada was only like 300,000, but I don't even know what their demographics on like quantities of people and all that kind of stuff. So I guess I give you some of these numbers, and I was like, what does it mean? Well, I hate to tell folks is this: it's a global product, and it has value outside of our country. That it's not just they're not worried about just the United States TV ratings. And by the way, I don't think AEW nor NWA, nor Ring of Honor, nor Impact should focus on the United States, because I don't know in the long run what that means, as far as an American product for pro wrestling. I think the market growth is outside of our country. That's a whole other show, a whole other topic.
Yes.
Because in our country, I firmly believe that streaming and new viewing habits have completely changed, and I don't think so. Basically, I'm about to tell you all of those viewership numbers. What do they mean? I don't think they matter as much in our country anymore. NBC has even gotten to the point, by the way, they have announced they're going to drop the overnight ratings system, and potentially there's discussions of just get rid of the Nielsen system altogether because it's flawed and antiquated. Because guess what? People consume content completely different now.
Yes. Completely different. Now, you don't even need ratings. All you need is subscriber numbers, okay? If you got your thing and you put a piece in the puzzle and your subscribers go down, you take that piece out of the puzzle. NBC brings in WWE. If their subscriber count goes up, gold, okay? If it goes down or doesn't change in 5 years, don't get rid of them. But these are the new numbers that people care about. How many people are going to give you $10 a month to see what you've got? Okay. It's a value add to be an AT&T cell phone and internet person like I am and like you are, that you get HBO Max for free. That's a reason to switch to AT&T. That's how this is going to continue to work.
Right.
Streaming will be a service, just like video games are going to games as a service with your long-term streaming game, your multiplayer games that are online all the time.
Just an example for that, like the Xbox Game Pass. I haven't done console gaming in a long time, but literally, like, you get bunches of games. So, like, somebody who has the Game Pass, like, why are they're not going down to the Best Buy or the GameStop anymore and buying games? They just do their Game Pass and they just play what's available, and they play as much as they want.
And that's a
value
right there. Yes, and the games that get put on the Game Pass are the popular games, right. And then you make games for Xbox now, and now you're going to make TV for Peacock, and it's going to be a different model.
Here's the other thing. Something came out this week, and I wanted to share this because this was just fascinated me, which numbers and me are, we go hand in hand, right? So there was a report that Tubular Labs did, and it basically said that from February of 2020 to December of 2020, they were looking at how things were done. So basically, WWE gained 8.3 million unique viewers per month on Facebook and on YouTube. Like, on this list, they were ahead of Sports Center, ESPN. I mean, and on, on and on and on. So from 13 to 24, they only trailed movie clips and World Star Hip Hop, which I'm out of that demo because it's 13 to 24. By the way, I'm double that age. That's why I'm not in that demo. But think about that. That is insane because what we're getting at is, and yes, by the way, folks, they take into account, they don't count like people coming back to watch. They only count somebody brand new looking at it. So I think what we're trying to say is that I think TV viewership is a good number. It's a good tool to use, but it's not the end-all be-all metric anymore. If you're sitting there saying like, well, everybody over here is watching YouTube and everybody over here is watching Facebook videos and things. Because let's be blunt, Myron, there are much more concise and digestible ways, and maybe the word I'm looking for, to watch a Raw, to watch a Smackdown, to watch an AEW, to watch an NW, so forth and so on, right?
I'll show you mine. My Roku TV. It's an app for the cable on the Roku TV. Commercial. Match I don't want to see. Tag teams I don't like. Anything I don't want to see, I just watch it. Now, if, say, you provide me the next day, like they do on Hulu with a shorter program, that's brilliant too. Sometimes I want to watch it the same night. Sometimes I just want to let it get started and zip through it. People don't eat pie by cutting slices anymore. People eat their pie. They take a little bite over here. They might lick the center out. They might grab a handful because you do what you want now. You don't have to sit on your couch, turn the knob on the TV, make sure the antenna is tuned in, and watch a program. You watch it when you want to.
Yeah.
And that's what it's all going to.
And so that's, I always ask, like, what are people's thoughts? Like, does everybody believe that the Nielsen system is antiquated? It's out of, with the way we consume things now. I just bluntly just say, listen, there's a reason I'm having this conversation because let's just go ahead and move into it, right? So one of the other big news items of the week were NXT's moving nights now. We hear it's Tuesday. I had heard rumors it was Thursday. So if it's Tuesday, so be it. Supposedly beginning April 13th, and this is all supposedly, and, per this website, that website, this podcast, that podcast. It was going to be the first show after WrestleMania. So then therefore they'll make the jump then that they would move to Tuesday. Supposedly official words coming soon. Meltzer's, saying that it was a discussion that they were having. It was a topic of discussion as of the 24th. So basically last week. Like I said, we had heard potentially that it was going to be Thursdays. But obviously, here's the thing. The obvious answer is AEW won the ratings war and drove them off of Wednesday nights. Could be partially true to it. I guess we can take it for what it is. That could be true. And I'm going to tell you the good reasons and why they're moving. There's lots of great reasons for them. They're not good. I think there's a lot of great consequences of them moving. Maybe is the better word I'm looking for. One of the other reasons, by the way, pure and simple, is NBC has closed down the channel NBC Sports Network. Okay. They have hockey and they have NASCAR on there that they have to move. They have contracts with those sports. They have to air somewhere.
Yeah.
Folks, it's going to be USA. You're going to see hockey on the USA Network.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And then I don't know about like NASCAR trials and that that stuff. I don't think that makes USA. Could. But I think you're going to see a lot of hockey on Wednesdays. So we'll see. By the way, for the record, I think we're going to see the same issue in AEW. They've had some basketball early on, some stuff, but when we get closer to playoff time and stuff like that, I think we're going to see it again with AEW. I hope it's not as complicated as it was that little stretch they had that was really weird. But let's talk the positives, Myron.
Mm-hmm.
We're finally going to find out, like legit, what the two bases are.
Yeah. It's going to split it up so you can see who is watching fast, who is watching flipping, who is watching one, then watching the other one. Like, say, you get the ratings, see me watching NXT. But then after it's over, I watch my DVR content. Now, when does that DVR number go in? The fact I DVR didn't watch it.
That was the beauty of. That's why I think the NBC is so adamant about dropping the overnights, because now I think the number is the live plus 3s or the live plus 5s, where as long as you watch it within 3 days, 5 days, I think they get to the point where I think the only number that, if you even care what numbers are anymore, I still think it's a content-driven product, but that's a whole other argument. But yeah, as long as you watch it, they want. That's why, you know, you hear SmackDown's overnight number was X, and then you get a final number like later, you know, the next week is, you know, like a live plus 3 or whatever to watch it. But like I said, I think what it'll be good is, I hope, and there's a lot of hope here, that we find out that there is actually 1.2, 1.3 million AEW watchers that'll watch it that night when it's unopposed.
Yeah.
And same thing for NXT. How cool will it be to see $1 million numbers for NXT, or million viewer numbers? Now, granted, folks, by the way, I just totally sit here and told you I don't think it matters, but I didn't say it didn't matter at all. I said it was a good tool. It's just not the end all be all metric anymore. So, but it would be cool to see that, like, okay, there was probably about, because we'll find out, are there 400,000 people flipping, or is there 400,000 people, like, is it really 900,000, you know, or 1 million to your base? And I think then we get a true comparison when we find out what's the gap with a casual fan between let's say a Dynamite and a Raw, a Dynamite and a Smackdown, where we don't have a diluted number with both shows on the same night.
Yeah.
So, but that's just me. I mean, we'll go from there. Why else is that important, by the way, folks? Because we're talking about NXT moving. The only negative that I have coming out when we're talking about it is I'm super excited AEW is going to be unopposed. But one of the big things was, of course, Paul White came over. That was one of the big things, you know, the big topics from last week, of course. But it was announced he was going to be the host of a second AEW Dark show called Elevation. Now that's going to be on YouTube. But now, you know, now we're hearing grumblings that there's going to potentially be 4 shows for AEW, 2 Dark shows and 2 Dynamite-ish shows.
You know what I want to see? You know what I want to see out of that? I want to see AEW Impact. AEW buys Impact. That's their second show. They put it on TNT. Bam, you've got a roster, you've got production, you've got everybody there. You're ready to go and run with it. Impact keeps getting better. It's a pre-made product, folks. It's good. I think the fact that most people don't know it exists or where to find it hurts it more than anything else. Okay? You don't look through TV ratings or TV guides like you used to. You either Google to find out what time it come on or what channel it's on, or you go through your list and you find it, or you don't Google it, but you put it into your browser that your TV runs on and your cable runs on. And then they should show you where the show is. You hit record, blah, blah. You know how it goes. It's different than my dad making me turn the knobs on the damn RCA on the floor, 30 years ago. Or, no, I'm sorry, 40 years ago.
Go turn the channel. Yeah.
I forgot how old I am.
I mean, but here's the thing. You're right. I mean, my question becomes, like, let's say hypothetically, I only like AEW. I don't watch anything else. I mean, which is like, there are fans who I only watch WWE stuff. There's fans who I only watch Impact. And by the way, I totally respect it for a lot of reasons that I'll tell you why here in a second. But one of them being, if I only like AEW, I mean, one of our biggest complaints is there's just way too much content to consume. By the way, this isn't a knock, by the way, solely on AEW. I already say the same exact thing about WWE. There's just way too much content. If you only watch WWE, there's just way too much content now
Minimum
to watch.
7 hours a week.
Minimum. Okay. But now let's go into AEW. If you're going to have a 2-hour Dynamite. You're going to have a dark show, which can vary all over the place. I mean, how long it is. Because it's on YouTube, there's no set time. Then you add a second show, which is Elevation. And now if you add a 4 show, I don't care if it's just an hour. We're starting to creep up into that 5, 6, 7 hour range. Same exact concept. So it's a worry because the casual fan can only consume so much product. Like, they're not going to invest that kind of time. Listen, this is, to me, one of the biggest obstacles. They get a lot. WWE gets a lot of money for the content they put out, but it's an intimidating number to realize. If you want to keep up with everything, that you got to watch 7 hours.
Yes.
If you're casual, NXT falls off. You're still at 5.
Yeah.
That's intimidating to try to consume in a week.
And even hardcore wrestling fans get saturated. Okay? You can get to the point where you've seen too much wrestling in a week, and you may take 2 weeks off. I love wrestling podcasts. I haven't listened to a wrestling podcast in over a month because I got saturated on wrestling podcasts. Back off a minute, they become new again when I go back to it. Sometimes I take breaks from wrestling. Sometimes I don't watch any wrestling but live wrestling shows we go to in a week. You know, I read all the headlines and stuff, but I don't sit there and watch it because I get saturated. I don't want to see any more wrestling. I want to play a video game, or I want to do something else, or watch a movie. And people are like that now. People aren't going to continue just to eat whatever you hand them. They're going to do it their way.
Well, there does come a point where, listen, I get it. People are like, oh, I love wrestling. I love wrestling. There's lots of things I love in this life, but guess what? There's lots of them that aren't in front of a television.
5 nights a week, 6 nights a week. All you do is watch
that was the funny thing. To put a button on it, the plus of moving NXT to Tuesday is it doesn't add another night of wrestling that I have to watch. It just moves from the Wednesday doubleheader. Now it's a Tuesday doubleheader with Impact. Because if it went to Thursday, literally, folks, Monday through Friday, you have TV, you have wrestling on your TV in front of you. There's not a night of the. Do you know how often my wife already complains? Is wrestling on tonight? Of course, there's wrestling on tonight.
You know, if you'd have told me that when I was 12 years old, I'd have been the happiest kid in the world. And now I'm 48, and I'm like, I don't want any damn more wrestling.
I don't want another night. And here's the crazy thing is, there's MLWs on Saturday. You can watch it on, Then, by the way, our next topic's going to come up. And then, God forbid, if AEW or WWE are running a pay-per-view, then there's another block of, 3 or 4. But God bless them. I will tell you this. My big plus to for the last elimination pay-per-view, that thing was like 2.5 hours and it was done.
Loved
Dude, I go to indie shows that are longer than that.
Yes.
So, and I give me because that 2.5 hours was over and I was like, dude, that was awesome. That was one of the biggest pluses of that show. But listen, we could go on and on and on about being too much wrestling. So AEW, be very careful. I get it. If you're getting paid, and that's the problem, that's the double-edged sword with WWE. They're getting paid for all of that content. The drawback is of that double-edged sword is it's too much product to consume. Don't fall into that same trap. That's all I can say is AEW don't fall into the same trap. Now, we are excited. Here's to contradict ourselves, right? There is wrestling coming, but there's going to be more wrestling to watch. This is an alternative, of course, but it's been there before. It's coming back. NWA completely put everybody into a panic, right?
Yes.
The YouTube channel went down. The videos were all gone. Everybody was like, oh my God, NWA is going away. Everybody went into panic mode. But of course, now we're finding out, no, they are coming back March 21st, back for the attack on pay-per-view on Fight. And folks, by the way, it sounds like, guess what? It sounds like there's going to be a paywall, folks, by the way. This is kind of the scary thing. There's like a little mini sub that you can do, but I think Power's going to be on there as well as getting pay-per-views. Hopefully this monetization helps them, stabilize a little bit. I know like they had put their thought into their model and it was working on YouTube and all that kind of stuff, but hopefully this thing kind of solidifies them and, they're doing their studio thing. They're coming back. I think they're going to do some tapings for Power on the 23rd of this month, I believe.
God,
back,
I'm so happy about that.
Yeah. Hopefully, we're hearing that hopefully they will have some fans back in there coming up soon. We're going to go down there and check out a show when we get a chance to see that. Because, listen, it's studio wrestling, nostalgia. Look, we told people back then when it happened, it's a nostalgia feel. That's what the product is. I think they need to get back running and get some momentum going again so they can try to get something going in the long run. But that's
you've got to convert that. You've got to convert that nostalgia into new fans, and you got to convert that nostalgia into a buzz, and you got to make that into something that continues to steamroll and you gather momentum with.
Yeah.
The nostalgia wore off, after a few months of Power. They dropped viewership, so they got to change something in their business model.
I agree, but listen, I wish him nothing but the best. I mean, Billy Corgan is doing his part to keep this thing rolling. We're big fans of him, at least getting it out there. He gave a lot of people an opportunity. Like, hey, friend of the show, Camille, she'll be back. I mean, it'll be awesome to see her back on TV again, crushing it, and amongst many other things. But here's the thing. They took this break, and then they lost a guy like Eli Drake, who's now over in NXT. Of course, a lot of their talent, God bless them, at least is picking up spots on AEW, keeping fresh. So, like Thunder Rosa and stuff like that will be, she'll be back over, I'm sure. The danger is how much of their contract did you lose to not running, and now they've got exposure over there. Are they tempted to head that direction when their contract's up, kind of thing? So, but that's a whole other tale, neither here nor there. Hey, but before we run too long, man, let's go ahead and roll right into the Georgia Indy Talk.
Oh, yeah.
This week's a hot week, of course, here right here in Georgia. It's because that old company up in the corner there, as you see, it's the first Friday of the month. Means it's Southern Honor Time. So take a look here real quick, and you'll see what you got coming up this Friday up in Canton, Georgia.
Attention wrestling fans, join us for SHW 25, Friday, March 5th at the Action Building in Canton, Georgia. The Monster Sunny Days seeks vengeance against David Ali as they battle in a first blood match for the SHW title.
There's a lot of motivation right now for Sunny Days to defeat David Ali.
Owen Knight has a score to settle with the Prince of Petty, Ashton Starr. Plus, the Good Old Boys make their SHW debut as they team with All-Star Special to take on the Honor Society. Also in action, Gunnar Miller, Ben Buchanan, Chip Day, Kyle Matthews, the Washington Bullets, an SHW Tag Team Championship match, and more. Tickets on sale the night of the show starting at 5 p.m. Doors open at 7, bell time at 8. Trust us, you don't want to miss this show. SHW, this is our wrestling.
Well, there you have it, man. As always, they come out firing up there in Canton, Georgia. As you saw, a lot of the card there. We'll be heading up there this Friday as well. We're dragging a little bit of a crew this time. I've got a few people riding with us, and so it'll be fun to take the crew up the street and all the way up to Canton and see. Listen, it's I want to see this David Ali Sunny Days first blood match.
Yeah.
So it'll be hot. But listen, the buzz of all around, right? All-Star Special, Good Old Boys are coming over from the show across town. That's not running anymore, but Honor Society, that'll be huge. How about this? I mean, listen, I had totally blanked when I saw the card and then realized, like, oh my God, Buchanan and Towers are going to clash in that background. I mean, that's insane. I'm super excited to see Ashton Starr Owen Knight. I think that's got a shot to be the show stealer. People may be sleeping on that match. Don't. Lots of other stuff on the card, of course, as they pointed out, the tag titles, Chip Day and Kyle Matthews and the Washington Bullets and on and on and on.
Ooh, God, that's going to be such a good match. Gary, please bury the hatchet. Bury the hatchet with the man in the black shirt and pants and shoes. The man that controls Gift Garrison. Bill Behrens and Gary, please get together so we can have some Griff Garrison on the show, because he'd be the perfect fit. Marcus Cross would be so good on this show too. Please, Gary and Bill, make peace for the good of us all.
Well, if you want to follow up to somebody making some peace with Bill Behrens, we were at Anarchy this past weekend, and we saw, and that was a fiasco with the Buchanan over there and the whole, and then Bull Buchanan actually accidentally, maybe theoretically, took a shot and put an elbow to the head of one Bill Behrens and laid him open. But
Bill takes a bump, man.
Yeah.
I tell you what, he can take a bump. That was the most entertaining segment that I have seen on an indie show. The most organic, the best one I have ever seen on an indie wrestling show. Probably even better produced than some of the WWE shows. I thought that was awesome because you had so many moving parts.
Yeah.
Matt Hankins is a genius, an absolute genius.
When
Now he has Austin Towers too.
When Hankins is on, man,
My
he's
God.
on, brother. It's tough to beat. But and they are on him like crazy there. Of course, is anybody all over Georgia like Hold My Beer Hansen?
No.
I was like, dude, he got a response, and everywhere when he comes out and he gets that response, I look around and I'm like,
he is kudzu because he's over everywhere. Okay.
Yeah.
Every time the pop. The only people I've seen get pops like that everywhere they go is the only person is Terry Lawler, and he did this for a long time.
Exactly. So. And kudos, by the way, in the tag match, Proc the Croc and J2 Strong. Nobody plays that character. He's a heel and makes you not want to like him. Jay's coming into his own, so
yes.
J2 Strong is somebody definitely to check out as well. But then, of course, we hadn't been to an Anarchy show, and it had been a minute.
Yeah.
And Will Caution, like, the reaction he was getting, I was a little caught off guard, and I don't mean that it's not to disrespect Will Caution at all. I was just amazed at the reaction he was getting by the crowd. He would go on to win the golden ticket, by the way.
Wrestled 3 matches. Wrestled 3 matches on the same card, won all of them. Good job by him.
And here's the crazy thing. When you put a guy like that on there 3 times, you run the risk of he just doesn't, the reactions get lower and lower. They did not, by the way. They got better and better and better as the night went on. It was a hot crowd. That's what we're kind of getting at too, and I joked about, like, does anybody do more with less than Anarchy?
No, they have the most, I was going to say most different, but that's not a good analogy. Their fans are like nobody else. Southern Fried fans are hot and loud. Anarchy fans are a vicious mob, and they just want to tear the heads off the heels. And it's everybody is so into it. It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
I love Landmark Arena. My favorite place is to go see a wrestling show.
It's a hot place for absolute sure.
French fries were good too.
And Myron loves the French fries at Landmark, absolutely. Something else that was on fire. Tyler, listen, that character Tyler Culpert's running, I'm just telling you, dude, it's getting better and better the more he tweaks. Even the little nuances within the match, if you pay attention, he's starting to. I'm not saying he's starting to get the character because he's always had it, but he's starting to get he's starting to peel that layers of that onion and get to the middle of that onion. So it's kind of cool to watch as time goes on. So definitely, if you're not booking him, he's a great heel to have on your card. Yeah. Speaking of cards coming up, listen, we were going to record earlier. By the time you hear this announcement, will have come out. Patreon members, maybe you get it beforehand. And so if you're a supporter over on the book or whatever, you may be one of the first ones to hear this. Had a Viral Pro reached out. They were making their first announcement for their first match on the card, and they were like, "Hey, slide this out. You might want this." So, folks, here it is. The first match that they are announced by this point is probably already be out. Like I said, the All-Star Special, who we just talked about, who's doing such great stuff up at Southern Honor. They're heading on over to the East Coast, down in the Southeast Georgia, down to Viral Pro, and they're going to wrestle the Ugly Ducklings, who, by my opinion, and my opinion only, I guess maybe, I don't think that's true. I'm kind of making a joke there. Down in Thompson, one of the best tag teams in the country when it comes to independent wrestling is facing one of the hottest new things coming out here in Georgia wrestling and tag team wrestling, the All-Star Special with William Huckabee and Hold My Beer Hansen.
When that hit Sweet Caroline and they come out, man, it is fire. Fire, absolute fire.
I'm jacked to see what songs this month. It's just a random jukebox with whatever the Waffle House plays. So let's find out what the heck they're playing this weekend right up at Southern Honor, and then on and on and on. So like I said, they're just a couple Waffle House jukebox playing, guys, and we're going to see everything. But they're going to be catchy, and they're going to catch on, and watch out, like I said. But down in they're going to be hitting this Viral as well, down when they run their Undeniable show. April 17th. Tickets, by the way, were on sale. If they may be sold out at this point, if not, you need to head over to the Viral Pro to their on the book and check them out and see if tickets are still available and absolutely snag some. Before we get out of here, there was something, and this is going to be just a quick hit because I wanted to ask our fans what they thought as well. So up in the Northeast, up in the New Jersey area, there's 3 promotions: ECWA, Synergy Pro Wrestling, and UWA Elite. And this topic comes up on a regular basis. It really does, and so that's why we kind of always want the feedback here. Those 3 promotions are going to run a territory championship essentially between those 3. They're going to crown a champion that'll be remote there. Listen, we've always said this can't happen in Georgia.
These people have to be, the same guy has to own all 3 promotions. I'm sorry. Because wrestling is an ego-driven business, and the things you create, you think are the best. That's just the way it is. And to have 3 promotions, I mean, some guys are heels in one place and faces in the next in Georgia.
I think ultimately that's the ultimate problem. I think is if we can't even book wrestlers the same face and if we can't do continuity between the promotions, God forbid, there's no way. Or you're going to have him. He's your champion, by the way, for the whole territory, but he's a face over here and he's a heel over here and he's a baby face here. There's no. That's you would have to agree, Gunner was running in multiple promotions, Gunner Miller back in the day, and he was booked, through all of them. But, to do that with a champion would be, like you said, can we get everybody on board? I just don't think it can happen.
If you're a champion at one promotion, chances are they're going to job you at the next promotion. It's a rivalry. There's all kinds of things going on. Yeah. Undercurrents, the rumor mill that gets fed through our Facebook Messenger every day and through our text messages every day. And we're not even part of the business. We're just guys that hang out. And it's just so much going on, and people are crazy.
That's an understatement. So we would listen, hey, let us know at Tapped Out Pod, of course, tappedoutpod@gmail.com. Do you think it's even possible? Like I said, our take is no, it can't. I just don't think it can be done anymore just because it's an like you said, it's an ego-driven business, and I just don't think that there's enough that can be worked out amongst everybody. So let us know what your thoughts are there as well.
Maybe your state. Maybe it would work in your state. Maybe you live in Texas. Texas is hot right now.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah, we're all over, so we're not even at, just let us know in your area alone. I mean, no matter what part of the country, what country you're from. I mean, we got people watching all over the world now. So absolutely let us know. Do you think it could work? But what could work for you is if you subscribe to us somewhere, anywhere, everywhere. Like I said, man, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, all that place, anywhere. People are always asking me, hey, what about YouTube? All right, if you want to subscribe at YouTube as well, check it out. Check us over there as well. But we always, our strong recommendations, of course, right now is subscribe anywhere and everywhere. 5-star rating and review. We greatly appreciate it. And, of course, patreon.com/tappedoutpod. We still have that running. But, listen, we're bluntly honest and full disclosure. The book is kind of, come over there and join us. Go to our page there. So become a supporter. It's a flat fee per month. And, of course, you got all kinds of cool stuff on there. Get the show early. Get some exclusive stuff. And these new things we talked about, we discussed a little bit behind the scenes. We're going to put some ideas actually behind that wall and let those people actually decide some of the things we're going to do as well to let you guys get your input as well in what we do. But like I said, we just want to say thanks for everybody who does all of the above. We greatly appreciate it. So anything else, Myron?
No, I'm just so excited. I'm on vacation. I'm going to get to go to a couple of wrestling shows. I'm going to get to spend some downtime watching wrestling shows. I'm happy. And when I'm a happy wrestling fan, I'm a good wrestling fan.
Absolutely, man. It's amazing how much time you have and how much more content you consume when you don't have to work.
Yes. I might have enough time to consume it all.
There you go. Well, man, if that's everything you got, man, what's the old saying, brother? If I've got nothing and you've got nothing, what time is it?
It's time to tap out.